What's going on YouTube? H-Dub here, and we playing Raid, and today we're going to talk about some rare champions that you can start preparing if you're working on those Ramon 2 missions. You know you have to clear a full rotation of secret rooms in order to, get that mission done for Ramon 2. There is a mission where you have to clear all secret rooms on hard on a rotation, and I just want to tell you guys about the rares that I use for the rare HP rooms so you can begin to prepare those champions, because you will probably need them unless you have some OP gear. You can throw in any rare HP champs at that point, and just put it on auto and pray that you don't go over the turn count. But let's go ahead and quickly take a look at the rares that I used and some other possible substitutes in there. One or two champs that you could throw in. You have some wiggle room there. You can also use dupes there, so there's a lot of different options. Obviously when I cleared it I didn't have dupes, but I have dupes now to make it a lot more easy for myself. But let's take a look at these champs, and full disclosure, the rare HP room is not open yet, so I can't test it, and I also don't have the gear on all of the champions, but some of the champions still have their gear on from the last time we cleared it, when the last time Dark Fate was around. But we're going to take a look at the champions just so you understand why we're using these champions, and so you can be a little more encouraged by what I bring. It's gonna encourage you a bit more to say, okay, I will invest in this champion if I pull this champion, or I will save this champion. I'm not gonna feed this champion just yet so that I can beat that mission. So let's go ahead and take a look at the champions that I used. Right, we've got a Blood Mask. We've got a Gear Grinder, who I actually did not have when I first cleared it. I have since built him, well, leveled him, and booked him, did not master him. But I do have him now just so I can throw it on auto and it can be easy. I don't have to manual it anymore. Obviously a Painkeeper, who is amazing. We've got Sentinel, we've got Marauder, and we've got Corpulent Cadaver in there. Now, those were the options that I used. So for the first time I beat it, I had Blood Mask, a Painkeeper, one Sentinel, Marauder, and this guy, right? So let's go ahead and just break down the champions really quickly. Now, Blood Mask, great option. He is Force Affinity. His kit is not completely amazing, right? You'd be better off with using a dupe of one of the other champions, but his kit does have some versatility. On the A1, attacks one enemy, 35% chance. You can book it up to a 45% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 10%, which comes in handy. A2, attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 15% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, which also comes in handy. And you can book this up to 75%. And this A3 has a stun that can be booked up to, what is that, 95%, right? 95% chance to stun. And that's on a 3-turn cooldown here, 3-turn cooldown there as well. So if you build him really fast, high HP, healing every turn, you're gonna be good. As you can see here, he does not have all of his gear on, right? That's because I had to put some OP gear on him just to get it done. But that was only 2 of the pieces here. They're on other champs now. They'll be back on them once I gotta get it done again, or maybe I have other pieces now. But primarily Immortal, just for heals and for more HP, and Perception, just so we can be landing our debuffs. Even right now, just with those 2 Immortal sets on him, he's still over 70k HP, which is wonderful. Would love to get some more defense on him. He's a bit slow right now because he's missing that glove that probably gave him a ton of speed, but it is okay. If you get him going fast enough, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna come in and he's gonna do a ton of work for you, just because the champions that you're facing, right? The fastest champion that you're gonna face is 129 speed. So if you build him with well over 240, you're gonna be fine. He's gonna take multiple turns before they get a chance to take a turn, which means you get a chance to decrease some turn meter, you get a chance to stun, you get a chance to get a decreased speed up, which is going to allow the other champions in the comp to take more turns as well. But let's move on to the next champion that I actually used, and then we'll at the end talk about the champions that I have since brought up, which Gear Grinder. We won't go into Gear Grinder next. So the next champion is Painkeeper. If you're running a Bat Eater comp, or you're looking forward to running the easiest comp to run for Clan Boss, then you probably have a Painkeeper on your account, so you already kind of know what her kit does, right? A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Gonna fill her turn meter by 10%, which is great because turn meter is key. You know, taking turns is key to get those secret rooms done. A2 attacks all enemies, then heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. So you want to make sure you build her with decent HP because her heal is going to be based off of her HP. And obviously everybody knows her A3 is going to decrease the cooldown of all allied skills by 1 turn. Now, I don't have masteries on her. Didn't feel the need to put masteries on her for this, but if you put masteries on her, you'll be great. Now, I have her in a stun set. Obviously, stun set is probably the best set to go for the rare rooms. Any of the rare rooms, unless you're using like the rare attack room, right? Which you could just bring in full damage dealers there. I did it with like 3 cold hearts, a war maiden, and what's her face? Eviscerator. Easy, 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 right? So there you don't really need stun sets. You could just bring in damage as long as they're fast and clear pretty easily. But otherwise, any other rare HP room, rare room in general, rare HP, whether it's rare magic, rare attack, rare whatever, you're gonna want stun sets for the most part. And so we have her with decent HP, obviously over 70k HP to make sure we get those heals. 240 speed here, a little bit of accuracy. I don't know, we don't really need it. It's just coming from the perception set, which we're really only using to get more speed because my speed gear is trash, right? But Painkeeper speaks for herself. Everybody knows who Painkeeper is. Let's go on to the next champion, who is Sentinel, right? And obviously, as I disclosed before, these guys aren't all in the sets that I had on them, right? Right now, he's just in a build for player power. He's not in the build that I would use him in. But let's take a look at his kit to see why I'm using this champion. On the A1, he attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance to place a provoked debuff. If this attack is critical, you can book that up to, what's that, 85%. On the A2, he has an AoE, has a chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns and a heal reduction, right? And you can book that up to what? Let's do some math, 70%, right? Now, his passive also heals him by 10% of HP at the start of this turn, and the heal can be critical, which means if you do build him with crit rate, to get that extra provoke, you're gonna, have a critical heal. Similarly to Apothecary, whose heals can be critical, which means if you build him with crit rate, he's going to heal by a ton more. Now, this is a very useful champion just because provoke on the A1, AoE on the A2, we can put him in a stun set. 3-turn cooldown on his A2, so another chance to stun. You want to be using champions that are AoE and have other things in their kit that can be beneficial to you, right? So decreased attack definitely going to be beneficial because you're going to go up against some attack based champions in the room, and if you have decreased attack, it's just going to help your survivability, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting that decreased attack up, getting those stuns up, getting those provokes up, and just wearing those guys down. Now let's take a look at the next champion. Oh, also he has only a little bit of masteries, right? I didn't go all the way with his masteries. I got what I needed, and yeah, I got what I needed. I guess I could break down for you why I took what I took, but no, we did not go all the way down with his masteries. I did not want to fully invest in this champion. I invested enough to get the room done, and I advise you to do the same unless you plan on just using this champ everywhere. But obviously we took more accuracy. We got, this as well, charge focus for more accuracy in the fight. Arcane Celerity, just so he can gain some turn meter when those debuffs expire, because he's going to be placing a ton of debuffs. Increase more accuracy. Obviously, Arcane Celerity, I already broke it down. Lure of Steel, just so he can, get a stat bonus. And we got Evil Eye to decrease some turn meter when he hits him with the A1. And we took a little bit of damage here, just so he can be doing a little bit more damage, try to get through the room a bit faster. But let's talk about the next champion, who is Marauder. Now, I brought in Marauder in a shield set. He's missing the weapon right now. I know the weapon had like a ton of speed on it, but we brought in Marauder in a shield set, and I'll explain that once we get to the next champion. But he is built with decent HP even without the weapon, still 60k plus. some speed. He's gonna get way more speed with the weapon on, trust me, some resist and some accuracy. Let's talk about his kit and why I'm using him. On the A1, got a chance to place that stun. You want to be placing stuns, guys. A2, AoE, 50% chance of placing a decreased attack. So we got another decreased attack champion in there to help with some damage mitigation. And his A3 has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. He also places a shield buff on himself for 2 turns, equal to 20% of his max HP. Also plays a 15% reflect damage on all allies except him for 2 turns, which is going to help us with doing some more damage on the opponent. That's on a 3-turn cooldown as well, booked. Now, he also has an HP aura, so I like to use this guy in lead just because, you know, you get that good HP aura. I think everybody else, you know, that has an HP aura, we can't really use it in there. Yeah, we can't use any of these other auras except for Corpulent Cadaver, who we're gonna get to next. But this is the guy that I'm putting in lead just for that HP aura, because it's gonna help you out a ton, especially with getting those heals from Painkeeper. You want to make sure that your champions have decent HP, so they're getting decent heals all around. Now, he was in a shield set basically so he could help out Corpulent Cadaver to smack initially, because we all know that if Corpulent Cadaver is under a shield, he's going to inflict additional damage if he's under the shield, right? The damage is equal to 30% value of the shield, so you want to bring in a decent, you know, champion in a shield set if you can, right? Now, he also plays a shield on himself, equal to 20% of his max HP, and then it grants him an extra turn to go in and use that A1 and smack again if you want, or you can hit with the A3, which is going to have a chance to provoke. So obviously this team that I'm showing you guys has a lot of CC. We've got a lot of provoke, a lot of stun, a lot of damage mitigation with decreased attack, right, and heal reduction to make sure they're not healing up at all, right? Because we don't want them healing at all. You're going to be going up against some Painkeepers yourself and some other champions. They're going to have a Gear Grinder as well, who's also going to be trying to revive. So, you know, I haven't fully looked at all of the other champions. I could break down what all of the enemies are going to do, but take my word for it. If you go with this comp, you'll be fine. And I'm showing you the stats. I'm kind of telling you the stats of kind of what to be looking for, right? So obviously we have him with decent HP here. Could have more defense as well. He also is a bit slow, but it's fine. We got decent accuracy as well. Great champion, great champion, great champion. Probably need to change this helmet out. I don't know why I have this helmet on him right now. I was probably just trying to throw something on him to just get the job done when I was doing the rare spirit room yesterday. So yep, this guy obviously has full masteries on. I said that before. Let's take a look at the masteries really quickly. Down into War Master just to get damage, and down the support tree just to get more accuracy. Took Arcane Celerity as well as Rapid Response, right? Because he's going to be placing a buff on himself. He's also going to be placing defense. So this is going to give him a chance to take more turns, right? Increase that turn meter, keep that turn meter moving, because you want to be taking turns. These secret rooms are all about taking as many turns as you can before the opponents, because these opponents smack. All right, these Doom Tower hard secret rooms, the rare rooms, they're nothing to play around with. But if you got the right champions, you're gonna be fine, trust me. Now let's take a look at the champion that I finally got that made this room a breeze for me, and that is Gear Grinder, who he's not really in a great set right now, but he was in Bolster. Okay, now he's missing a helmet. That helmet will go back on him once we get that room open. Now that room is number 7, right? So we've got a week until that opens. But let's take a look at his kit. On the A1, he's gonna place a continuous heal buff on himself if the attack is critical. A2 is gonna heal all allies by 15% of their max HP. And the A3 revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. That is on a 5-turn cooldown, which is not the greatest, but it is a rare reviver, which is a rare thing. I think there's only, I think him and Reliquary Tinder, it might be like the only rare revivers that, I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know about any other rare revivers. I'm sure there has to be at least one more, right? There can't be only two, right? But this is why we're using him, because if you wanted full auto, you know, build everybody with, you know, a ton of HP, you're getting a lot of good heals. You got multiple champions coming in healing everyone. Then you got people who are, you know, giving themselves a little bit of heal, a little bit of shield, some reflect damage as well. So you're doing a ton of damage mitigation. But I did have him in a bolster set with the helmet. He's gonna have a ton more HP, but just 61k right now. With a helmet on, we should probably get close to 70k. Decent speed as well. Everybody will be over 200, and some resist, just so we're not, you know, getting debuffed in there by those guys, because we're pretty much going to be facing ourselves in this room. We got a gear grinder in this room. We got a blood mask in this room. We got a sentinel in this room. Draconis is also an option. He is someone who is also in this room as well. You're also going to go up against a Doom Screech who does some turn meter and things like that. You can use him as well. But these were the champions that I used for this room, guys. So we got Blood Mask, we got Painkeeper. You can even go in with multiple Painkeepers all in stun sets and just throw it in auto, because they're going to be stunning. They're going to be boosting the turn meter. A lot of people in the end game are just using like 5 Painkeepers, 4 Painkeepers, and a gear grinder or what have you, or just 5 Painkeepers and stun. Throw it on auto, be done with it, right? So Blood Mask, you got gear grinder, you got Painkeeper, you got Sentinel, we got Marauder, and we got Corpulent Cadaver, who also shines in the clan boss. If you're using like an infinity comp or anything with shields, this guy's gonna do a ton of damage. But hopefully I brought you some insightful information. Hopefully I brought you something that you can take from this. If you have any of these rares, save them. Don't feed them. Don't say, oh, I'll get another copy. And if you're working on these, you know, Ramontu missions, and you know you gotta, you know, you gotta plan for a rotation where you can clear all of the secret rooms. Just trying to help out. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Of course, be good and be well.